in Bamidbar 35, and let's start with verse 11. Numbers 35 and verse 11. I've entitled this message, preaching for a few hours today, Our Only Refuge. You can move it over there, Lord. You don't have to be stuck in, wherever the ghost leads you to move it. I don't care. You don't have to be stuck over there. Bamidbar 35, verse 11. Then you shall appoint cities to be cities of refuge for yourselves. Circle those words, please. To be cities of refuge for yourselves. That the killer may flee there who kills any person accidentally. And they shall be for you cities for refuge from the avenger. That the killer dies not until he stands before the congregation in Mishpat. Remember we talked about that a few weeks ago? Where we go for Mishpat, where we go for judgment. You remember we talked about that?
Yes,
we don't go to the city, we don't go to the state to get married, or monogamy, plural marriage, whoever, whatever. We go to Yahweh and we do our business for Yahweh before the door of the congregation. Remember we learned that, so we see that principle here again. We see that. We stand before the congregation in Mishpat, not the city or the state. And these cities which you shall give, 6 cities you shall have for refuge. You shall give 3 cities on this side of the Yarden River, the Jordan, and 3 cities of refuge in the land of Canaan, which shall be cities of refuge. The 6 cities will be a refuge both for the children of Israel, circle those words. The 6 cities will be a refuge for the children of Israel, and for the Ger is the stranger, and for the sojourner among them. That anyone that kills any person by accident may flee there. In other words, the Father has always sought to provide a place of refuge to his people. Earthly refuge is just a taste and a shadow or foreshadow of the eternal refuge in his arms. Can I hear again? Can I hear again? Amen.
Amen.
So Yahweh has always been the refuge of his people. And the 6 cities that our children, that our forefathers, the children of Israel, were commanded to build were 6 cities of refuge, 3 on this side of the Yarden River, and 3 on the other side of the Yarden River. In other words, Yahweh is an Elohim of refuge. And the earthly cities, the earthly places of refuge, were just a taste, listen, and a foreshadow of the eternal true refuge in his arms. His refuge, Yahshua's refuge, is eternal, from salvation to glory and beyond. I'll say it again. From salvation to glory and beyond, his refuge is eternal. Turn to your neighbor and say eternal refuge.
Eternal refuge.
Not refuse, refuge. Don't let me catch you saying that. His refuge is forever. He gave our forefathers these cities of refuge to show us that the heavenly refuge, the eternal refuge, the things of the Shamayim, there's a refuge that is not of this world, that is eternal, forever settled in the Shamayim. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
Please note that in these instructions in Bamidbar, Numbers 35, we just read 11 through 15, there is a refuge for accidental murder, or the accidental murdering brethren, with the tongue who slander and bear false witness. We read about that today in the Brit Hadashah portion. If you and I speak about an Israelite brother, we are what? Judging the Torah. And if we're busy judging the Torah, trying to pretend we know their heart, which we really don't know, then we have no time to do the Torah. So if you spend all your time cutting down and dissecting other people's fruit and being a fruit inspector instead of being a fruit producer, guess what? You cannot be a doer of the Torah and be a judge of how your brother is performing the Torah all at the same time. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen. Amen.
Because if you're so busy judging the Torah in your brother's life, you cannot be a doer. You'd have no time to be a doer. So the principle here was not for cold-blooded, first-degree murderers. This provision, the refuge of Yahweh, listen, is not for premeditated, cold-blooded, first-degree murderers. The cities of refuge was for murder and violence and homicide per accident, by accident. The refuge were for those who committed these murderous acts, but by what?
Accident.
On purpose? No, by accident. And as it was then, so it is today. There was how many cities of refuge for the children of Israel? 6. Look at verse 15. Look at verse 15. There were 6 cities of refuge, and not only for the Israelites, but for the strangers and sojourners who dwelt among us. In other words, who is Israel? You may not be Jewish, but if you stick around, you're Israel. Because if you are saved by the blood of the Lamb of Israel, and if you keep the feasts of the Lamb of Israel, and you guard the Shabbat of the Lamb of Israel, and you take your way to live in your lifestyle by the instructions of the Lamb of Israel, you are Israel.
Amen.
So stick around, stay with us, abide with us, under the fig tree. Like Yahushua said to Nathanael, he said, "Behold, an Israelite in whom there is no guile." And Nathanael said, "Well, how did you know that I'm not a liar, that I'm sincere, that I don't have malice in my heart?" He said, "When I saw you under the fig tree, I understood your motive, and I understood your motivation." Does Yahweh see you under the fig tree, or are you still under the Christmas tree?
Uh-oh. Getting deep. Let's get quiet. Very quiet.
The fig tree in Israel is a type. The fig tree is a type of national Israel. The fig tree is like the olive tree. It's a type of national Israel. Yahweh wants to place you, find you, and settle you under the fig tree. And then he'll say, you see, he wants the truth. He's sincere. There is no guile. There is no deceit. He wants all the Torah for all of his life's difficulties and challenges. And here we're going to make.
Amen.
But I want you to notice what the cities of refuge are not. Again, I'll be preaching for a few hours or until the Spirit tells me to stop. A message entitled, Our Only Refuge. Turn to your neighbor and say, Our Only Refuge.
Our only refuge.
What's the name of this message? Our Only Refuge. Our Only Refuge. How many refuges do we have?
One.
Our Only Refuge. Notice there is no refuge for an Israelite who murders intentionally. There is no refuge for an Israelite who maligns and maliciously and intentionally slanders and bears false witness against others in Israel, and who don't do so by accident. In other words, if you say something about Darrell or about Walter, it's by accident, you didn't realize what you were saying, you didn't understand the repercussions, you didn't mean to destroy his character, you didn't mean to cut him down, you didn't have any malice in your heart, Yahweh is your refuge. As a disciple, as a Talmid or a Talmidah, a lady disciple, Yahweh, Yeshua is your refuge. But if you keep walking up and down among the people of Yahweh, slandering, bearing false witness, saying that all kind of lies and false things that are clearly and designed to destroy, to tear down, and to make a person worthless before his fellow man, there is no refuge. There is no city of refuge. The cities of refuge were not built for those who intentionally murdered, but rather for those who murdered via what? Accident. By accident. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
Now, Yahweh says there were 6 cities. 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. I see those 6 cities, Darrell, could be the 3 in Canaan land were a type of Yahweh's refuge in heaven. The 3 on the east side of the Yarden were a type of Yahweh's temporary refuge for his people here on the earth. Can I hear a good amen? So I look at it that way. The 3 on the eastern side were a type of Yahweh's what? Earthly provision of refuge. The 3 cities of refuge on the western side were the Palestinian-occupied West Bank, which belongs to Israel and always will belong to Israel. When the stupid news media talks about the West Bank, you know what they're talking about? Jericho and Bethlehem and Jerusalem. The place that Yahweh first gave to the children of Israel. Don't let the media lie to you anymore. Whenever you hear the term, today on the Israeli-occupied West Bank, you're hearing an anti-Semitic spirit speaking through the media. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
Well, today on the Israeli occupied. Hold it. Time out, Bubba. When you say Israeli occupied West Bank, are you talking about Bethlehem? Yes. Are you talking about Yerushalayim? Yes. Are you talking about Jericho? Those are the cities of conquest that Yahweh gave to our forefathers to conquer. So they are occupied, but who occupies them? The Palestine Authority, or PLO, or Pitiful Liberation Organization, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it is occupied by the Palestinians. That part is true. But I want you to understand that Yahshua is our only refuge, but there is a refuge for those who murder without intent, by accident, to stop the avenger of blood from pursuing the accidental murderer. But nowhere in this text, in today's Torah Parsha, will you find a refuge for those who murdered intentionally. And as it is in the natural, so it is in the spirit. If you tear down, use your mouth to be used by the devil, and you use your keyboard to be used by the devil, and you use all those things to destroy and malign and cut down your Israelite brothers, and you do it with intent, Yahshua is not your refuge. There is no refuge available to you, my friend. Or as John McCain would say, my friends. Sorry, there is no refuge in Yahshua. Not if you do it with intent and with malice and with forethought. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
As it was in the Tanakh, so it is in the Brit Hadashah.
All right, amen.
If there's planning involved, malicious forethought involved, if it's not accidental, you have no refuge in Yahweh. However, if you want Yahweh's refuge in your life, brothers and sisters, the murders we commit, either physically, Yahweh forbid, or with our mouth, must be of the accidental and the unintentional variety. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
If you want to receive Yahweh's refuge in his cities of refuge, you must make your errors and your mistakes and the murder that comes out of the heart, for out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. It must be unintentional, and it must be by accident. And then you and I qualify for the refuge of Yahshua. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
In order to qualify for our only refuge, who is our only refuge? Yahshua. Yahshua, Brit, who's our only refuge? Yahshua. He's our only refuge. But in order to qualify for Yahshua's refuge, you must make sure that your actions are not motivated by hate, by malice, by witchcraft, by rebellion, by jealousy, by greed, by anger, by hatred, by murder in your heart. And that if it was lawful, there are people who would murder born again brothers and sisters if it was lawful and if they can get away with it. And Yahweh knows I'm one of them.